Mercury, Mercury Stardust. She's a beacon of hope in the darkest night. Mercury, Mercury Stardust. She'll teach you how to make it all alright.
Hey there, hi, my name is Mercury, and I'm the trans handyman. My pronouns are she, her, and I teach compassionate DIY. We're here to help renters, LGBTQIA members, and anyone who's feeling left out in the DIY space. Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Hello. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today is actually my birthday.
Happy birthday.
And
Woo.
my wonderful co-host Maggie Conrad is here today as well.
Yay.
Yeah, Maggie, you're awesome. Oh my God. Maggie, they do love you so much.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, I have turned big 35 today. I'm 35 years old. I feel real good about it. And yeah, I think we have a wonderful episode today. We're going to talk about my journey and how we got to be where I am today for a little special birthday episode. But also, because it's my birthday episode, we're going to talk about mold.
Moldy bathrooms.
We have a lot of moldy questions today, apparently. And we're going to go over the ins and outs of mold and how to keep mold out of your bathroom and various parts of your home. Maggie, how was your week before we jump right into the cues?
Good so far. I feel like I have answered every single email under the sun a million times, so you're welcome for that.
Well, thank you, Maggie. I appreciate
it was just like
you.
one of those weeks where I feel like everybody is talking at me all at the same time, which is great. I'm very grateful for it, but I'm happy to be talking in real life to a person.
I have spent the week basically doing a lot of stuff around the office. I've been painting a lot, getting things in order, kind of rearranging for the 15th time, and took down some stuff and got our lounge area ready. And yeah, we're getting there. We're baby stepping
Slowly
there.
but surely.
It is. I think the hard thing for me is I'm the kind of person that I need my whole day open for DIY stuff. Like I need my whole day open to be able to like do the painting, to do the carpet, to do, all the stuff we want to do. I want to have all that time open. And there just isn't a way to do that when you got to do videos and you got to, I have a spouse and a partner.
Rescue your partner.
Yeah. Zizi had a problem with their windshield wiper today. My spouse mouse called me up and said their windshield wiper flew off their car.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. So I just happened to be right next to Walmart. So I drove in and then I went in there and I was like, okay, they got a 2007 Subaru Impreza. So let's just look that up when we were at the booklet, right? And it said a size 26.4. Okay. Should be good. I drove all the way to Zizi's car, which was about like 20 minutes away. Got to that car, got everything ready, did the video I wanted to do with it, and then I realized I got the wrong fucking windshield wiper, babe. It just so happened that, yeah, it is right. I got the 26.4. That is the right size. That's the way to go. But I got the wrong hookup. I got the J hook instead of an insert. And I was like, so you got to be fucking kidding me. I didn't look. I didn't have time. And trying to explain that to ZZ to have them tell me, I didn't want to add to
the stress.
Like you just saw your windshield wiper during a snowstorm. We had snow.
It was snowing heavy.
Yeah, it was snowing pretty heavy. And they were on the highway when it happened.
Oh,
and it flew off their car. They just went into a mechanic shop 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And they just did it. They went to the same mechanic that I did. And they... just so happened to be changing the windshield wiper blades out for them. And they must have like inserted the windshield wiper blade and not properly clicked it.
Yep.
Or inserted the wrong kind of insert because...
And it wasn't fully attached.
Windshield wiper blades, especially those insert kinds, I don't know what they're called, but they have like different adapters. And all the adapters are going to have the right kind of fitting and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. But they're not all created equal. And if you put the wrong one in there, or if you don't click it and double check it, it could come off when it's being used.
Jeez.
It also could have, it could have got pinched somehow when you're driving. I doubt it. But it could have came off for another reason. But That's why I like J hooks, old fashioned windshield wipers that are just J hooks.
Yeah, nothing's flying off of those.
Nope. Yeah, because the way they're shaped in a way that's just not going to make it happen. You know. But I did crack my windshield one time because I had a J hook.
Oh yeah, because it slams down.
Yeah, that's why in the video I said put down cardboard that's going to protect it just in case you bump it. There was one time where I had my windshield wipers up for months. I had these up for months because I just didn't have time to go get a windshield wiper. I lived less than 2 minutes away from a hardware store and a minute down the road from Walmart, and I still just nope, didn't make time to do it. And then one day I just got really upset about something, and I just pushed the damn windshield wiper down, and it cracked my windshield.
Yep.
And
I had somebody do that to mine.
I was so pissed about it. But that's why I said if you're going to be doing the work, put a piece of cardboard there just in case
smart.
You hit it. You know.
I saw that and I was like, that's some pretty good thinking.
I always all the things I've learned. If you're like Mercury, that's really smart. Way to think about that. It's because I fucked up. It's because I fucked up and I am now paying the price. And then
other people get to benefit from that.
You learn from other people's mistakes. But honestly, that's most of what maintenance work is. Most maintenance work is, messing up and then going, there you go. Probably shouldn't have.
I fucked up.
Oh, I fucked up. Oh, my God. That is honestly my mantra. I fucked up. Shit. Yeah, no, but yeah, that was my day. I helped ZZ fix their windshield wipers and did that for their car. And, but it's hard for me to keep track of stuff because there's so much going on with the Mercury Stardust Media. Next week is my retirement show.
Last one.
I know I'm performing my last burlesque act next Friday. Really excited about it, but very nervous at the same time.
I'll be there.
I'm doing 3 numbers this Friday.
Wow.
I'm not going to host the show. I'm just going to perform as the headliner.
For your birthday.
For my birthday show. And then next week I'm doing 2 performances, and my final performance will be a fan dance that is partially a tribute to a local legend by the name of Monique Murray.
So is that why I vacuumed up a shit ton of feathers today?
Yes, that is why you vacuumed up a whole bunch of.
That's nice.
Also, I would like you to know. I'm
excited to see it.
I would like you to know most of the feathers that you vacuumed up were recently, like from last night or whatnot.
Yeah.
And not from when I originally plucked a whole bunch of feathers out of the ostrich. There were Maggie, the whole floor was white in that one little cubicle.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And that's why
so funny.
I brought my vacuum from home because I was like, if Maggie showed up today and she saw that we killed a small ostrich in this office, I think she might
start to cry.
I think she might get real upset with me. But we had a local legend by the name of Monique Murray. Mm-hmm. She was the original M&M girl. She'll melt in your mouth and your hands.
Oh.
She was 82, 83, 84 years old when she died.
I've heard your stories about
it. Monique Murray was a huge part of my life. She always called me Midnight. Mm-hmm. She never called me Mercury. She always got my name confused. But I would talk to her on the phone like every Sunday. And she called ZZ Snooze. She would always be like, so how's Snooze doing? So cute. But she spent a lot of time with me and ZZ in Vegas when we were there for the Burlesque Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Monique Murray was in the Burlesque Hall of Fame. And she would perform every year in the Legends Showcase. And it was a really beautiful time to get to know her. But she passed away in 2020. Mm. And I've decided to dedicate my last performance to her.
That's so sweet.
And to do kind of a little bit of a nod to her in the style of burlesque she did, which was, she did a lot of singing, so I'm not going to do that. God, the one talent I can't do. But her style was a lot of showcase. She was known for the bump and grind, and she was known for the walk around. And she would show off her costumes a lot. And then ultimately she was a classic, fan dance performer. Mm-hmm. And we talked about that a lot all the time. By the time I met her, she wasn't able to do fan dances anymore because she was confined to a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. And it was really hard for her to move her hands and her arms. But we talked a lot about what made a good fan dance. And she always said the best fan dance is ones that take their time and the fans become an extension of your arms.
Mm.
And I always kind of took that to heart. And I think that's the style that I convey a lot because of Monique Murray. So that's
Can't wait to see it.
I can't. It's going to be backlit too.
Yeah.
So
cool.
old-fashioned fan dances back in the 1920s and 30s and 40s, most fan dances were backlit. So that meant that you went for a silhouette.
Yeah.
So when you're holding the fans up, you would see the shadows of the body and the curves. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to try to do. We did it last week, and it looked really cool.
Nice.
And I hope that we can modify it a little bit and make it even better for my last performance.
Well, everybody get your tickets now.
Yep, you can get tickets right now by going to mercurystardust.com and getting tickets for the online show. We're doing good. I'm just nervous. I'm just nervous that we're not going to hit that 10,000 ticket goal. But boy, I hope someone comes in and helps us out and get us to that target because it would really help us out as a business. So, okay, all that being said, are you ready to answer some cues?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hi there, Miss Mercury. My name is Bianca. I'm a renter in San Diego, California. I had a question for you about paint. So we've been in our apartment for roughly 15 years. In the bathroom, the paint was starting to get some mold in the corners. So we called our apartment manager. Maintenance guy came in and he did some mold treatments in the corner. Then we repainted the whole bathroom. But one problem that has persisted is that there's like some orange, slimy looking stuff running down the walls. It feels sticky like mold, but really not quite sure what it is. I've tried different cleaners on it. I've tried different ways to get rid of it, but it persists through the paint. The apartment manager said that the treatment that the maintenance guy did should have taken care of the problem, but it's still there. Would you happen to know what that possibly could be and how we can fix that problem? Appreciate your time, and I love everything about you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
I think this is the case of there being multiple things wrong at one time and have the maintenance technician focusing on one thing and not realizing the other thing, right? So I think what we're having here is originally was a mold issue, right? This was probably a mildew issue that they were trying to fix. So they probably hopefully they didn't use bleach because you shouldn't use bleach on mold. And we could talk about that in a second. But hopefully they used some type of mold killer. And that probably took care of it if they were properly doing it. And then what they're having here is some type of bacterial growth. So me and Maggie talked about this a little bit ago. So Maggie's going to kind of explain a little bit what she thinks it is. And I'm going to give my 2 cents.
Yeah, so we looked at some pictures. Their voicemail reminded me of I've seen this like pink, we call it pink mold in like the grout of showers. It can also grow on walls. And it's like pink, orangey, but it's actually a bacteria. And so it's a little bit different of a treatment. And
when we looked at photos, when we looked at the photos of it looking on drywall, it looked kind of like almost like Goo Gone. Like if you would if something sticky gets on it and you spray it with Goo Gone and it like grabs the orange, it looked pretty bright orange.
And when I've seen it in the bathroom and like in the shower tiles, it's slimy.
Yeah,
like she was saying.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought.
So Maggie, from the information you found, what would be the route that you can remove it? Like what would be the route you should go?
So it was recommended to do a 1/4 cup of baking soda and a tablespoon of dish soap to create a paste to wash and then like a soft bristle brush to basically scrub the mold off. But then you have to use some kind of antibacterial or disinfectant after that.
Yeah, and that's what we were all talking about. We kind of all had a discussion about it, about what's the best route to go after you clean it. I think like cleaning it with a paste and all that, that's good. But then you probably should seal it off, right? Then you want to do something with it. There's 2 routes you can go with this. First and foremost, any primer that you're using in a bathroom should be mold resistant, right? You should have mold, mildew, and bacteria resistant, right? Matthew, our wonderful sound engineer who does the podcast with us, was telling us about a product he found called PPG Copper Armor, and they make a specific kind that's supposed to be, bacteria resistant, mold resistant, holds up to 5 years. Behr makes a really good paint for that too. Pittsburgh makes a really good paint.
Sherwin-Williams makes a
Yep.
shield paint.
Yes, Sherwin-Williams does make a shield paint. Honestly, most major brands have it. Even
Yeah.
Rust-Oleum, is that?
Rust-Oleum.
Yeah, they have a literally one that's called Kills.
Mm-hmm.
And it specifically is the kind that I have used a lot. I always say use 2 coats.
Kills with a Z.
Yeah, Kills with a Z. Use 2 coats. So
Yep.
I would do that specific, do the whole wall in the primer, of course, right? But then that specific area, do a spot coat, right? Do like 1 or 2 of that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't overdo that, to be honest. And I would also say I've done lacquers. I have sealed it off before,
Mhm.
and they make specifically mold-resistant lacquers that help to seal everything in there. You want to get the kind that is low odor. The low odor kind is way to go. Otherwise, you're gonna knock yourself out with that. The fumes
Oh, yeah.
lacquer
Mhm.
fumes are intense, especially if you're in a tiny bathroom. That could be hard. So get a low odor one. And then do lacquer in that specific spot too, and that's going to be worth it. It's also great for mold. Like if you're having a mold issue,
Mhm.
using lacquer to seal it in is good. Unless you remove all the drywall and you take away, the mold and the rot and all that stuff that could be growing on behind the wall. Unless you do that, and if you're in a rental and you're not able to do that, like a
Mhm.
full redone or full remodel, then you're going to want to try to seal in the pores, seal in the bacteria, seal in the mold to prevent it from getting airborne.
Yeah.
And that the best way to do that is with primer, lacquer, and then a finish coat. And the finish coat should ideally be like a semi-gloss.
Right.
You should be doing it with a semi-gloss because it's easier to clean, going to be way easier to get rid of mold later on if it's growing, and etc. A satin is okay. You can do a satin too, but I would lean towards the semi-gloss. And I know that's
So
not
the
always
higher
fun.
the sheen, the easier it is to clean.
Yeah, the higher the sheen, the easier to clean. You got
I
it.
didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah, that was great. Honestly, should go on a T-shirt, Maggie. You know what, Maggie? I think someday you should start a podcast.
I've always wanted to.
Yeah, I think you
That
would
would be
be
great.
really good at. You go full of information, and you're really good at googling stuff, and I love that. You could do gloss too. I just don't like gloss. Glosses are just a pain in the ass to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But semi-glosses are just enough pain in the butt
Yeah.
that they're not as bad. Yeah. And for those that are wondering how to take care of mold, I don't know what our other questions are today. That if I'm going to be answering this later
yeah,
on
we'll
or
be
not.
going over it.
Yeah. Okay. I won't answer right
Stay
now.
tuned.
I'm gonna wait 1 second. Wait for the next one, and maybe that's one I can answer about how to properly kill mold. Good. Next one.
Hi, Mercury. This is Rachel, she, her. We've been apartment renters for probably 20 years, but we're in a new place where the grout is real bad. We've always had problems with like mildewy looking grout in our apartments, and I'm just not sure how to deal with it. We've in the past, we've scrubbed, we've used bleach pens, and it's kind of sort of worked. But this new one, I mean, it's like we moved in and it was bad, and even when we clean it, it's like the grout is it's like the grout's wearing away almost. So we're not sure what to do. It just stays black all the time. It's pretty gross. I was looking for some advice on how to clean it or how to repair it. Thank you.
Grout is one of those things that I haven't done a whole lot on, right? I haven't done a whole lot of how-tos or repairs on grouts in general. But I will tell you that typically in these situations when we're talking about grout, it's instead of repairing it, it's almost better to replace that grout itself. Like take out the grout, chip it out, and then replace it itself. That would be my thought process. Or like take as much as out you can and then fill it in. That would be my route. Maggie did some Googling for this one too. And Maggie found some great answers. Maggie, what do you think about this?
So it's another one where they recommend a borax paste, which is water and borax. Because
Do you let that soak? Is that
they
what
did say soak for 30 minutes. But then also scrub with like a toothbrush or.
Does that hurt the integrity? Does it say anything about hurting the integrity of the grout itself?
I did not see anything about the integrity, but it's also recommended to seal the grout afterwards.
Because there you go. That's important.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I bring that up, right, is because some soaps can actually hurt it.
Mhm.
And they always talk about resealing grout and resealing tiles sometimes.
Yeah.
Every like couple of years. So
Mhm.
like that could be a
Yeah.
reasoning of why this keeps happening to them. Is that like maybe it wasn't properly sealed, maybe it wasn't
Oh,
sealed,
yeah. Or maybe it's just
and,
been a really long time.
and maybe that like that the mold started growing on top of that.
Mhm.
But I think the borax, it's just called borax paste.
Borax.
I don't think I've actually ever used it myself.
It's common for people who make their own laundry soap at home. Like
Oh,
it's like a powder.
that's why. Yeah, that's why it sounds familiar.
So yeah, it's used in like laundry. But yeah, and I think you can also use baking soda. Same thing, but the borax is gonna be a little bit stronger.
You were saying to use a soft Bristol brush before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could use an old toothbrush
Mhm.
would be fine for something like this. You could also use an electric toothbrush or something that if you want a little bit more of that
Yeah.
friction, it's going to help
And
you.
they have grout brushes,
They
like the
do.
electric
They
ones,
do have
the
electric
little-
grout brushes if you want them. Honestly, this isn't like. Hopefully, you can do this. Hopefully, it's not. Grout isn't that difficult. It's just like it's a little finicky,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. It's like one of those home repairs where it's like, no, it's totally possible to do, but it might give you a headache in the process.
Well, and removing it, we did that in our bathroom. We removed some grout that was giving us some issue, and went in there with like an electric Dremel, knocked out some grout, regrouted it. But that's a process.
That's messy.
Yeah, so
That's messy, and it's
some
hard.
cleaning and some sealing.
Get
is a
yourself
little
good
bit-
knee pads.
Yeah.
Get yourself good knee pads or a pillow. I like to use
Mhm.
a big pillow when I do anything on my knees like that. And take your time. Hopefully, it's not a big surface area.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I've seen people who've done like full on kitchen repairs in there, in before we have the big tiles, and just the big ass repairs they got to do. And my fuck that does not sound like fun on my knees at all. But yeah, I think that should do it. Right? Do we cover that?
Yeah, definitely the ceiling. I think
And
is the
if
most important
I
part.
think the overall arcing thing of all of this, with all of the mold questions we get, I think dehumidifiers are underrated.
Yeah.
Especially if we're in like, is this another bathroom?
Mhm.
Is this another bathroom? Yeah, dehumidifier.
Yeah.
I think that one of the biggest problems is rentals don't always have good exhaust systems.
Yeah, the
You know,
fans.
Yeah.
Or people don't use them. They think, we don't realize what it's actually for.
The rule of thumb with a fan is, 20 minutes before and 20
Mhm.
minutes after. That's what you're enduring, of course. But like that's always the thought process, is that they tell you 20 minutes before the shower you should turn it on.
Yeah.
Get the proper air flowing before the shower and the heat heats up. Don't turn on the heat and then turn the fan on. You should turn the fan on and let circulation go for a second. Let that room circulate with the ventilation. Then turn the heat on in your shower. Then when the shower is done, leave it running for 20 more minutes and then you can shut it off.
Yeah.
Until there's no moisture in the air. Like if there's no, like your shower's not fogged up and there's no water dripping from the ceiling,
Yeah.
and et cetera, those kind of things. You want to make sure you get the much of that moisture out of the air. And the reason why we want to do that is because that's how bacteria and mold and all that grows, right? Is from that high humidity. And it grows rapidly, you know? Those heat lamps in showers, those really hot heat lamps are killer. Like, I'll see those in apartments sometimes, and always, boy, if you have that on in the shower, you'll get that shower turned up to such a high degree that, like, we're talking like 80 degree in this
Sauna
90
in there.
Yeah, it is like a sauna. It really is. And also, if you close the door, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will close the door. A lot of people have kids. So of course you're going to close the door when you're in the shower. If you have a tiny little shower, you're definitely gonna have a problem with mold growing in that shower, no matter if you're using a fan or not. So dehumidifiers are great, especially if you turn the dehumidifier on and then close the door and leave it shut and let that soak up. It will just suck that moisture right out of the wall.
Right out.
Yeah, right out of the wall. So I highly recommend getting yourself a good dehumidifier. And you ain't need a fancy one. You could get a decent one for 200 square foot or something for a bathroom.
Yeah.
Finding where to put it can be difficult But yeah, that one. My suggestion would be that dehumidifiers.
You know where I first learned that?
What?
Somebody who is an author wrote it down, and I read it.
Oh, you're looking at me. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
For anybody not seeing my face right now.
I was just like looking at Maggie, being like, "Who the fuck? What author are you learning this from? Is this someone beating you to the punch?" That's hilarious.
Because I was editing
For
the
those
chapter.
Yeah, we got to fill people in a little bit. Yeah, that's hilarious, Maggie. The thing, Maggie has learned a lot by reading the book that is coming out.
I have.
Yeah, we learn a lot. Okay, let's add the last mold questions coming up. Ooh, I'm excited.
Hi, Mercury. My name is Joan, and I'm a renter in Maryland. I did not think I had a question for your podcast, but I do. My tub has a black caulk problem. I have done everything that I can imagine to get rid of the black mildew caulk. I've even scraped the whole thing out and replaced it a couple times. And I've had the landlord scrape it out and replace it a couple times. But the black mold and mildew keeps coming back. I think that there's moisture and crap behind the shower liner, but the landlord says no. What do you suggest I do to get rid of the black caulk? Thanks.
That is one of the funniest words in the fucking human dictionary. And I feel like I every time I try to say caulking on TikTok, I'm always in trouble with TikTok. They're always
You get this like little look in your eye, like you want to wink, but you're trying not to.
Yeah,
I see it every time.
Every time. Sometimes people will say in my comment sections on TikTok, they'll be like, Mercury, I'm surprised you weren't laughing. And I'm like, no, this was a good take. You should have seen the 67 takes I took to get that one right. There was that one video where I had that big caulking gun.
Yeah.
And then I had to snip the tip and then slide the rod inside the tip of the
words.
caulk. I just had to like rub the tip inside of the caulk to open up the hole a little larger. And then you got to make sure you put it on a nice angle into the slot and then press it nice and tight against the slot and then squeeze the tube of the caulk to try to make sure you can get it nice and into it. And every fucking time that I said it, I would be like giggling so hard. Doing it and being like, no one's going to see this video. This is going to get so suppressed on TikTok. I'm going to get banned from TikTok because I'm trying to help people with sealant. But anyways, yeah, let's go over this and some tips and tricks here. Okay, first and foremost, I want to make sure we're using the right caulking for this. Mold-resistant, bathroom-friendly silicone caulking is what we're talking about, right? We want to make sure that we're doing caulking that's going to be good in the bathroom, okay? I think that is probably what they're doing. And I don't want to assume that the people are using the wrong caulking, especially because other people have done it. It'd be kind of weird if they're all using the wrong kind. But mold can grow on it. I would say there could be several things happening, right? How fast is this happening? Like, is this happening within a couple days? Does it happen after a shower? I would say the tips and tricks we just gave about, a dehumidifier in your bathroom might be what we want to talk about. Like, why is it still growing? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If we can limit the reasons why it's growing in the habitat that's living in, maybe that's the route. If there's tile in the bathroom and there's fiberglass everywhere, mold is not going to be on those. Like, those are porous, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not going to be able to have mold on that. But you're not wrong that mold can be behind the wall. And then when you're inserting the caulking right there, it could, grab onto it and go through. But typically, if we're talking mold resistant, right, mold-resistant caulking that is brand new, it should take a bit for that to happen. If it's going black right away, I would really, I don't know, I'm concerned of what's happening with that scenario. I feel like, is it being applied in a way that could be leading, like, is it not doing a proper seal, right? If you don't get all of the old caulking out, right, if you do not get all the old caulking out, If it's not dry before you put it in, maybe, but if you're doing a proper seal, that it shouldn't be turning black as it is. I don't know. Do you have any
So
input here?
do you think it would be that it's an issue with moisture behind the tile?
I mean, it could be, but it's also not drywall. Hopefully behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't use drywall behind tile. In a bathroom, you definitely shouldn't be. You're
Right.
using a different type of material that's supposed to prevent that too. But if it is drywall behind it, yeah, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
it could totally be it. But I mean, if they're saying it's not, they're probably saying it that way because they don't want to have to deal with the fact that they're going to have to rip out the tile.
Oh yeah.
The only way you're going to fix that is you replace the stuff behind it. And I don't know. And they're looking at it. So from their point of view, they're looking at this like, okay, it's just black caulking. What's big whoop? That's how
Right.
they're referring to it. And your concern is valid, but their feeling towards it is much less,
Mm-hmm.
of a concern. They're probably annoyed that they keep getting called about this and that it's an issue. So my hot take would be like, I think we keep replacing the caulking, and I think you might want to think about moving out. Because if they're not willing to do the work there, I don't think. I just recently watched another content creator who I really admire. His name is Honest Carpenter, and he's on YouTube. He's a great resource. Is where I get a lot of my information from. Sometimes when I want to double check stuff,
Mm-hmm.
as I watch Honest Carpenter, and he did a whole video on black mold and molding and why it's not as much of a concern as we think it is. But the catch was it is if you have any allergies,
Oh
if you
yeah.
have like any type of immune system issues,
Mm-hmm.
then mold is a huge issue. And I would agree, as someone who's been like, I've seen people have pretty bad effects from it. I've had friends over the years who are immunocompromised,
Mm-hmm.
have some pretty severe issues with mold and having mold in the air. So my thought process is always try to seal it off. But if we're having the same problem over and over again with the caulking, I don't know the solution off the top of my head unless Maggie magically Googles something and something comes to Maggie's mind. And now Maggie grabs the phone and Maggie's frantically typing to try to figure it out. And Mercury is stalling for time. Speaking of stalling for time, did you know that my last burlesque performance is next Friday? Oh my God. I got into burlesque about 15 years ago, 800 performances later, and I'm here, still getting naked for strangers. I'm pretty excited about it. But after all this time, I'm hanging up my G-string, and that is nerve-wracking, and we're seeing how that's going to go. Maggie has an answer.
So I mean, honestly, the first thing that comes up is that there's something wrong with the installation. Either it wasn't,
Yeah.
installed correctly. The tiles are
Installed it.
misaligned. There's like
You're saying that the
um,
caulking wasn't installed correctly.
no, the tile and the
tile-
insulation.
Okay.
Like basically something was not done. It's saying poor grout, misaligned tiles, improper insulation can cause moisture to become trapped within the walls. So I think
Yeah.
she's right that there's something else going on back there.
Well, then my thought process would be if we all agree that is the notion, right? Then let's find the entrance point. Like
Mhm.
what is it that's getting trapped behind? Is it growing more? Is it getting worse? Is there ways that we can seal it off? Instead of doing caulking, is it possible to put something else that's going to work there? Right?
Mhm.
PVC quarter round. It could be a better option. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say
Mhm.
PVC quarter round? It's plastic quarter round. Quarter.
Usually is a baseboard.
Yeah, it's great for baseboard. But if we're talking like if this, we don't know exactly where it is in the shower too. Like it could be
Mhm.
above the bathtub into the tiles, and that's the case. Probably not going to work. Okay, but if it's on the floor, if you have caulking that's like to the bathtub,
Mhm.
put PVC quarter round right there. That'll get some of that problem done. And then see if there's other routes that we can go. You can also get plastic caulking caulking that is like PVC based.
Mm-hmm.
That is they can be like taken off and put into the spot. They make those kind that they have a sticky backs,
Mm-hmm.
and you can peel it off and just put it in there, and it looks pretty decent. So you could try that instead of this route and just see what happens if that helps to prevent it. But as far as the problem you're having behind the wall,
Yeah.
that's a harder sell. You're probably not going to get your landlord to do that. There are some mold like organizations in the United States that if you can
Mhm.
prove it in your city and in your county, they might be forced to. But I'm not rehearsed enough in that to be able
Yeah.
to tell you much more than that.
I'm wondering, like, because sometimes you can get somebody in there to give like a free, you know, estimate of what's going on. Like, would you recommend bringing in like a third party to look at it and
Yeah,
see?
but almost always you're gonna have to pay for it. You can
Mm,
say a free estimate, but like not it all depends where you are.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of places are busy as hell.
Mm,
And it can be difficult. You can get mold test kits
yeah.
from places. I haven't used a mold test kit, so I don't know how effective they are, but you can get them and then send it into a lab, and they'll tell you or not. So maybe if there's an opening in the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and you can put that little tester in there and scrape the wall a little
See
bit.
if there's mold behind.
That might be the
Yeah.
way to go. Worth a try, but they're usually like between 25 and $35 per test.
Mm.
So
Yeah. It sounds like, if you really want to force the landlord's hand, you're gonna have to prove that there's something back there.
yeah, but even that, there's laws that are protecting landlords a lot from
Yeah.
that stuff. It's very vague. You might be in a legal system trying to fight that. And that's always the problem with landlords. That's always the problem with landlords. Because like what is right and how long and how much resource and money do you have in order to fight what is right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so frustrating because landlords, there's no real supervisor
Yeah.
above the landlord. You can say it's, the city council, and you can say it's city planners, and you can say the law. But like, let's be honest.
It always errs on the side of the landlord.
The cards are always stacked against the tenants.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind when we're dealing with this problem, and hopefully we can find you a better solution than that down the road. But yeah, okay, I think we answered that pretty damn good.
Yeah, I kind of want to follow up on that.
Yeah, I want to follow. I always like follow-ups. I like them a lot.
If
So,
your question has been aired on the podcast, please send us a follow-up.
yeah. I don't know. This has been a really fun episode. I'm really excited that we answered so many mold questions.
I know. I just saw one right after the other. I was like, we got to do it.
Yeah. If you have any questions for the Handyman hotline, you can call us at
608-205-8768.
And please make sure you leave a voice message. You can also send in your emails and your text messages to us as well, to the same number that happens to be
608-205-8768.
And I think we have kind of decided on a winner for the workshop, our studio name. And it's a partial winner because we have picked one for my office, right?
Mm-hmm.
The office is going to be the man cave, which I think is fucking hilarious, and I love it. So my personal office is the man cave, and I think we're going to end up calling this the Mercury Station.
Oh,
Right?
I like it.
I think that's what we're going to go with. And I'm 90% sure the same is two different people. So
Yeah.
we'll make sure that we get that information out and that we give those people some.
I will track you down.
Yeah, we will give them a $100 gift card to our merchandise shop or something.
Yeah.
Whatever we told them originally. So thank you everyone who sent in suggestions. And we are just here at Mercury Station doing the podcast.
Hey, that sounded good.
I like it. It
Yeah.
made me sound happy. Yeah, I like it. Segue.
Peeloo, peeloo, peeloo. Mercury, your birthday is today,
Yes.
and you are turning 35.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is something in your life right now that you never expected?
Wait, what?
Like when you thought of yourself growing up and you're like, one day I'm going to be 35, tell me about how your life is different than you expected it to be.
is this a trick question? I'm like confused by the question. I'm called the.
I'm bad at asking questions. Don't make me do this.
This is weird because Maggie, first of all, I'm a trans woman who is famous on the internet for drywall repair, plumbing, and electrical. And I make my living by just answering questions for free on the internet every day. And I run a company now that has its own little studio. And what?
So basically everything about your life.
What? I also am polyamorous, have 2 amazing partners, and I run a weekly burlesque show. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, Maggie, what isn't weird and wild and unexpected? You know?
That's great, though. That's a good answer.
Is that what you were looking for? Just me?
Well, I just feel like, you're like on the other side of the 30s now, right? You're like on the other half of the 30s, and people often have expectations for themselves in this season of their life.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to be
have
here?
Made it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get a little dark if you ask me that question now, because when you're a queer person in America and you're a neurodivergent queer person who was, a recovering alcoholic, you're not really thinking about 35. You know what I mean? You're not really thinking you're going to make it that far. Again, a really weird question to ask me, Maggie. Here I am.
Apologize to everybody listening.
Here I am. Let's ask me questions, that are about my origin story. And then Maggie comes in real hot with fucking truth bombs and shit on the podcast. I mean, to be honest, I never thought I would make it to 35. I didn't have a 35 and beyond plan. It was just about making it by every single day. And trying to make sure that I could pay rent and put food on the table and take care of all my cats. That was always the plan. How do I feel now being where we are? I feel good, but I'm anxious as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's really stressful. You got any more questions to ask me?
I'm kind of nervous now.
That can bring down the energy and make people sad? Hey, Mercury, has anyone in your family died in the last 5 years?
What is your favorite memory as an adult?
My favorite memory as an adult? Getting married with Zizi. Zizi and I got married on December 2nd. December 22nd of 2018. We got married at a gay bar here in Tropical Madison, Wisconsin. And Zizi and I got married at 5 nightclub. And when we were running late for our own wedding, and Zizi and I were singing a song about it. It was just a stupid, silly song. We were listening to the Muppets musical. There's a Muppet song from Take Manhattan when they get married and everything. And we were singing a version of that about us being late for our own wedding.
Aww.
And it was quite funny. But we got there. It was just Zizi's mom, a few of our friends, and the owner of the bar. And we're on the stage and to get married, and there was this very small wedding. And right behind us was Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. So because Zizi is Jewish, we're like, we got to get that fucking off the stage. So we moved that, and then we got married. And then once the ceremony is done, the owner of the bar comes around the corner, and he has tears in his eyes. He looks so emotional. But it turns out that he was cleaning the bathroom, and he got bleach in his eye. So he came out while he was cleaning the bathroom, and he had bleach in his eye, watching us, and he's like, "Oh God, my eye hurts."
Beautiful.
Yeah, no. Here we think he was getting emotional because 2 queers got married on the fucking bar. Nope, he just got bleach in his eye. And then we had dinner, and that was it. But that was, I don't know, one of my favorite memories of all time was with Zizi on that stage and getting married. Also, when we went to Orlando, Florida, and went to Fright Night at the Universal Studios for a honeymoon.
Fun.
Zizi wanted to go to Fright Night at Orlando Studios, and we went to all of the haunted houses there.
Nice.
And it was super fun. It was like 5 or 6 we went to, and we learned a few things. one thing we learned when we were there is that I'm terrified. I am very not good at haunted houses. I get freaked out. Not great in those scenarios. And ZZ loves it. ZZ laughed through half of them.
I can see
And
that.
there was a Universal Studios monster one. So all the classic monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And ZZ thought, this will be a good one for you, Mercury, because, you're a wimp. So let's walk through this, and it should be all classic monsters. You should be fine with, vampires and zombies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I was pretty good. I was having a good time. But then the creature of a black lagoon comes out, and he is just decked out. This guy is looking like pretty badass. This was a hella cool suit he was wearing. And ZZ sees him and says, "Oh, a little fish boy." Right to the guy's face and laughed at his face. And then I said to the creature of the black lagoon, I said, "I'm so sorry." I will never forget that. And the shrug of this grown human inside of this stupid fish boy costume, just seeing the shoulders drop, like just completely defeated, because this tiny human is just like, "Oh, fish boy." Jeez, makes me laugh all the time. But they had some really cool stuff there.
Great.
We stayed at a hotel for a week there in Orlando, and I remember thinking, Orlando is really weird because it's like a lot of people who live there are really conservative. But Orlando itself is really liberal.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of like liberal vibes to it, but then you get like when we were in the Uber, there's a really weird instance that happened with the Uber driver who like stared me head up and down and like did that like weird thing that some people do when they're trying to like figure out what I am, and you can tell they get shifty and they get weird and they get like they'll like stare at you through the mirror. And that can be a little bit uncomfortable, but you almost get used to it when you're trans. You're just like, whatever. What is a microaggression I'm going to experience today?
That's a great memory.
Yeah, it was a good memory. You got any more questions, Maggie? You're 2 for 1 now.
Oh, 2. I have redeemed myself.
Oh
a
no,
little
you're
bit.
1 for 2.
Oh.
You're 1 for 3, really.
Well, let me think of a really awful question.
I could have just went into my spiel about how I became the trans handyman. That's where I thought we were going to go with this.
I know.
I thought we were going to go and be about how did I get started on the trans handyman, but it's turned into...
We don't have another hour.
It turned into, a question about life and death. It turned into a question about my alcoholism, and then it turned into a question about me and my honeymoon.
What? And I know we said we were talking about your past, but I'm just gonna say fuck it, and I'm gonna ask you a question about the future. What would you like to see yourself, doing 5-10 years from now?
I don't know. We have a plan, right? We have this plan of like tentatively like growing the brand and doing more of this and having employees and hiring a lot of queer and trans people and helping more people and having multiple books that can help more people and those kind of things. But it's always so hard because like we're shifting what we're doing all the time. We're like constantly changing and adjusting what we're doing as a business and how we bring money in and how we do these things. And it's just really hard. Maggie knows this. Maggie brings in the money. Maggie's the one who deals with all the brands and the sponsorships and who deals with the speaking engagements. All I do is I just make videos. I mean, that's all I do is I make videos and teach people stuff. And then all that stuff just comes and finds us. We're not really offensive. We're not like, we're defensive. We get the things that come to us a lot. And I'm very thankful for that. But that's honestly the answer to that question is, I'm not really sure, but I hope I'm happy.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, I hope I still have my cats. At that point, Paulo will be he will be 12 or 13 at that point.
That's
Nitro,
still young for a cat.
Nitro will be 9 or 10 at that point. So he better be jumping and being him still. And then, of course, ZZ and Chester. I want people in my life, you know. I care deeply about people. And to me, relationships that I have with people and the critters in my life are more important than anything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very defensive of that part of my life, right? Like, I share that openly about being polyamorous, about being a burlesque dancer, about being, you know, very radically queer. But in a lot of ways, like, I hold that the most sacred, you know? Like, those are the things that in my life that keep me grounded. People always say that I'm genuine, right? I don't know why you wouldn't be, as someone who is like a plumber and a maintenance technician. Like, we're pretty genuine people, you know? You kind of are. In this industry, we're fairly simple, you know? Like, we like tools, we like things that are shiny. You know what I mean? And
shiny tools.
Yeah, and shiny tools. And I think most people who get in this industry are people who generally are good at tinkering stuff, but maybe they had another thing in life, right? I've never met a maintenance technician whose first job he wanted was a maintenance job, right? His first job was in maintenance. You know, maybe he wanted to go to college, or maybe they wanted to, you know, be an athlete, or maybe they wanted to be, you know, something else, or maybe they just didn't have an idea of what they wanted to do. Maybe they couldn't cut it as an engineer, right? And then they become a maintenance technician. And that is kind of the path that I have seen a lot of people have take. In recent years, there's more and more people getting in the field who they wanted to be a maintenance technician since they were a kid. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring that up is because I think for a lot of us, we're really just like relaxed in this position where life comes to us, and I just want to go home and relax, and I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, Maggie, as a business, I hope sometime we can get to a point where I can go home and relax, because right now I don't feel I feel like I'm full of anxiety, and I always have bees. I'm always full of bees. You know, they're always buzzing and humming. And I'm always a little nervous about everything every day, and where the money's going to come from, and how we're going to keep this pirate ship afloat.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's another very difficult question for me to answer.
Well, you did a great job.
Well, yeah, bonus points. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Handyman Hotline, episode number 6. I hope you were having a good day, and I hope you enjoyed my birthday episode full of mold and questions that hopefully didn't make you cry. I hope you have a good day, everybody. And remember, you're worth the time it takes to learn a new skill. Bye-bye.
So grab your hammer and nails and paint your nails if you want to. You're worth the time it takes to be you. She'll teach you how to fix your house, how to fix it by yourself. The